You know, generally, one of the things that I've always done is critique and take notes from coaches post-game um, conferences, whether it's football, men's basketball. I've always tried to study coaches on how they compose themselves, what questions they answer, how they challenge their kids. And as I critique myself sometimes, my God, I always feel like I'm a little too negative when I'm walking away from here. Before I put pluses and minuses up on the board, I always go back and watch the film. I go back and watch the film because there's ultimately something that I'm missing with the naked eye, and I don't want to reward or give constructive criticism too soon before I have a chance to go back and look at it. What jumps off the page for me and the most impressive stat besides the W for me is free throws. I mean, we only missed 2, I believe, in this game to shoot 89%. Lord, it's been a long time coming. But I knew a change was going to come, just to quote Sam Cooke there. So I'm proud of our kids for getting in the gym over the break and knocking down some free throws. The challenge was, I think I told them I wanted 40 paint points, and there's some consequences for some of these goals that we didn't hit early on. I wanted those paint points either by us attacking off the dribble, high-low looks with our post players, paint touch threes. The reason I was excited about Paige is I know she had a career night. I was excited about her first 3 because I showed our kids all of Kiara's threes, who's leading one of the top leaders in the conference in three-point shots. They're assisted, and they generally come off of paint touches or ball reversals. And I didn't want our kids jacking it. I was so excited for Paige because hers came off a paint touch. I liked the tempo early on that we were playing with. I gave our point guards a lot of leeway to control the tempo. If primary wasn't there, look for secondary actions, and then get into our offense a little bit quicker, which I thought they did. Now, obviously, there's a second side to that. And I said on the radio earlier that at halftime I said, I'm not giving my kids anything. They got to earn it. Then you sit there as a head coach and you see the puppy dog eyes as you're walking up and down the bench and you have a chance to go up about 25 points. I think we had a chance to go up. So your heart tells you, let me try to get some kids some minutes. I was a backup point guard. I didn't get the starting reps that my teammate, my best friend on the team, Krista Rankin, got. I didn't get those reps, but I still knew my scouting report, and I was ready when my coach put me in there. There's zero excuses for our bench not to be ready. I shouldn't have to. I'm trying to reduce minutes as starters. I was disappointed in our defensive intensity because all I felt like kids wanted to do was jack shots. So I had to bring my starters back in. Credit to Valpo that their kids kept playing. But this should have been a 20, 25-point game. And when they had a chance to cut it to 10, which I think they did, I had to put my starters back in there to finish it. And they did a good job of taking care of the basketball.
You were talking about Paige last week after the Drake game, talking about her efforts to not just be a spot-up shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before she hit those shots today, she drove and got a two-shot foul. She had an old school 3. How pleasing is that to see her add that to her game to make her more than a one-dimensional player at that end?
Man, the kid works on it. I've been challenging our kids. I've been challenging them. I've been using Xavier as an example of how he wears out our GAs and some of our younger coaches to get in there and get in the gym with them. And Paige has done that. Harrison Russell, our GA, she'll be in that gym with him. He's taking her through stuff. She's ripping off of cones and working on shots. And I give those two a lot of credit because it doesn't matter what time she calls him. He's going to be ready for her to come in the gym. Some of her teammates are coming with her, but Paige practices the same way she plays. And so she's building trust. I tell kids all the time, nothing's personal. It's about building trust. And when a coach trusts you, you get that opportunity. And Paige is one of those kids. Yeah, there's some things we got to clean up on both sides of the floor, but that's our entire roster. But I like the effort she gives me.
How important was the foul shooting? You touched on that earlier. It's kind of been trending in that direction for a few games now, but to see, I think it was 26 to 29. I mean, That's gotta make you feel pretty good about the work they've put in there,
It
right?
is. We're focused on it. We're focused on it, and there are ways that we get them to value it a little bit more, to get their attention on it. But I tell you what, I know we got kids that can shoot the ball, but what I'm trying to tell them is we scout just like everybody else scouts, and coaches are praying that you stay out there and shoot that shot versus attack and get their players on the bench, because just like Valpo tried to drive us the entire game and get paint points as well, that's what we're capable of doing. It slows the game, not slows the game down, but it gives you a chance to breathe because you're at the free throw line, and if we're shooting it like we're shooting it, we should shoot 30 free throws a game.
The other thing, too, you mentioned having to put the starters back in at the end. The end of the first half, too, even though it was a comfortable lead, you had 4 starters on the bench with 2 fouls, and we talked about it off and on about offensive continuity being hampered by that. If that doesn't happen, you feel like that may be a half where you get to 50 points or whatever?
It does. It is, and we had that. There was the first quarter, I thought, we got to 20 so quick, it should have been a 35-point quarter. But then when you have to sub some people, and I told my staff, I don't care what you're doing, but Nia's playing with those fouls. So whatever system y'all want to come up with, I'm keeping her in the game so we could have that continuity that we were looking for. But it definitely makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. And we got to just clean up some little things so we don't get those quick fouls early on in the game, because it changes the game.
Coach, for you guys, 3 straight losses before coming into this one. What did you tell your team to try to, I don't know if it was a motivational speech, or what did you do to get this team back and earn that first win at 24?
I just told them. I said, we're playing in the Missouri Valley Conference, and right now we're in the Valley. But everybody has started in the Valley. There's nobody that takes a jump to climb Mount Everest. To quote Kobe. Kobe made a statement about that, and I'm always looking for inspiration, but the only way to climb Mount Everest is one step at a time. I said the mountain starts right here at this step, at base level. If you step back, you see the grandeur of Mount Everest. And that's the same as the Missouri Valley. You step back and you start looking at everybody. We got nope. But if we can stay focused one step at a time, all of a sudden you're scaling that mountain and things happen. But we want our kids to be where their feet are. And that's what we tell them, is just be present in the moment and stick together.
Your players told us a few moments ago that the last 3 games attacking was something that they just couldn't do well. Tonight, a different story. Was that, how big of a point of emphasis was that in the last couple of practices?
They can do it well. We just choose to settle sometimes. But, that's all we worked on. That's all. Quick turnaround. One day, I did. Took the playbook, threw it out. I said, guys, I could run all this stuff for you, which we did. We had point-blank shots last game that we just missed. And I said, but it comes down to a will and a lock-in and a focus. Brought kids in, showed them film, showed how we're hollowing out on some shots and leading, and the ball is coming out right out with it. I worked with my post players on that. Now I got to bring my guards in on finishing, on those layups, because they're doing some of those. But it was really just a mindset of moving that doggone ball. And with our team, they like challenges, so I have to give them numbers. And if they don't get those numbers, they know there's consequences. And that's just how our kids operate right now, where they're locked in and focused on trying to achieve certain things.
They like challengers. How do they view consequences?
We'll see. We'll see tomorrow, because we came up short on a couple things. The best stat is always the W, and I give that to Kiara Love, which Kiara could be in here every game. I know other players are getting stats and all that other stuff as well, but we don't go if Kiara doesn't go. And she sets the tone for us. And I told her, I think, what did she play? 28 minutes. So that's pretty much half the game for her. That's a low-minute game for her, and I'm trying to pull her minutes down. I just can't do without her, because she makes our team go.
And just finally, how do you build off this one moving forward?
I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it until I walk back, going to close my team. By the time I get upstairs, there'll be a new scout on my desk. I'll go home. We'll clean up this film tonight. We'll show clips of things that are relevant towards our next game, and then we'll move on. Pretty quick turnaround in conference.
Yeah, so just to start, for you guys to bounce back the way you did and to get off this 3-game losing streak, what did it take?
It took us defensively. It was really it took us working hard defensively. We had to really be aggressive and force turnovers, and that was really it.
What about seemed like the approach you took offensively was to kind of try to attack the basket, and they got you involved early. How important was that for you to kind of get off the mark right away?
That was really important because in the last 2 games we had settled for a lot of shots. So she had said it was important for us to attack the basket because they can't guard us like going to the basket in the paint. And yeah, so that's what I just tried to do in the game.
How much nicer is it to see that ball go through the basket after a couple of games where it seems like there's a lid on it? How much easier does it make it to play when you're seeing shots fall through?
It makes me feel more confident because the last 2 games I felt like I was a little off coming back from Christmas break, but it felt better getting the looks that I got and finishing this game.
What about her shooting off the bench today?
Paige did good. She always does it like in practice, so I know every time that ball goes up in the game, she's gonna hit it.
I guess the one thing was you guys would have liked to close the game a little bit better. Is that a lesson you can learn from and apply to future games?
Yeah, absolutely. Me personally, I just feel like we should have had a bigger lead, but we just settled and let them drive us to the basket, and that's just what we can't do moving forward.
But overall, I guess it's good to finally get in the win column in the league and just move on and try to build on this.
Yes.
Just going off what he said, first win of the new year, stuff like that. I mean, does it feel like for you guys that maybe the worst is behind you and now you kind of look forward?
Yeah, it feels good to get this win. It feels like something we can build onto. Like for these games coming on the road, we feel more confident as a team that we can win these next 2.
What do you think you saw during that 3-game stretch? And I know obviously every loss is different, but coming into today, did you feel like here we go again, or was it something that kind of switched for you guys once you took the floor today?
Wait, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, so like during that 3-game stretch, obviously, what went wrong and how did you kind of go about fixing that today?
Really, it was nothing. What was it? It was really what we did offensively we needed to change and do better at. I wouldn't say like defensively it was something we needed to change because we did good defensively stopping our team. It was just we had to do our job offensively, which was attacking the basket more so. Yeah.
First of all, Paige, how much did you guys need a win to just kind of get back in the win column and feeling good again?
We needed this really bad. I mean, it's going to get our confidence back up, and especially with Illinois State next, like we got to get locked in again, and this is just like a booster for us whenever we play them next.
I'm going to say, you just touched on that. Illinois State lost by 35 today at Murray State. So I guess you're probably going to see a pretty upset team when you go up there, huh?
Absolutely, and we're definitely going to build off of that, but that also means that they're probably going to be hungry for us, so we got to lock in the next couple of days in practice and get ready for them.
What about your game today? How good is it to see the ball go through the hoop a little bit more? What does that do for a shooter's confidence when you see the net swish?
Oh, it goes up tremendously, and like it's just good. And honestly, it's my teammates. They give me the ball, and they have trust in me, and that's all I can ask for as a shooter.
The other night when you all played Drake, Kelly was talking about how she was pleased you're also driving to the ball to the basket, not settling for threes. What does that dimension do for your game?
It's huge because like they've been really like tight on me, and now that like they think like they know that I'm a shooter, so they're coming out on me, and I can just drive to the basket. And then not only that, but it opens up my teammates in the post as well, and it's something new added to my game, and I'm excited for it.
Coming into this one, you guys, for the second time this year, had 3 straight losses. Obviously, we know what happened the first time around. You bounced back. What went into today? What was the mindset to try to get the first win of the new year?
Our mindset was just, like, we have to attack the basket. And, like, Laniah touched on, like, that's, like, the biggest thing that we've been emphasizing is, like, get it in the post. Like, we need paint points. We need to get it in. And this is just a big win right now. And like I said before, like, this is just going to keep us rolling. And hopefully we can get more wins on the road and just keep on stacking them to our record.
What did you notice in that 3-game stretch coming into today in terms of, how those games went?
Like Naya said, like we weren't really attacking, getting to the paint very well, and I feel like today that's our biggest emphasis right now is like we got to get to the paint. We can't settle for the long shots. We can't settle for the threes, and that we got to get in the post and yeah.
I know I touched on this being a confidence booster, and especially the way you played as well. I mean, do you feel like maybe the worst is behind and the best is yet to come?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, like, we still got some stuff to work on, but, like, this is good, and, like, we really needed this. We needed that win.